3 soul contracts you signed before you were born. Hey there, my friend. My intention for this video is to help you get more connected with your inner self and remember why you came here to have this human experience. So, the 3 soul contracts I will be speaking about are 3 general soul contracts that almost every white worker and spiritual seeker has signed because they know they're part of the human experience. And if you're able to understand this information, it will be much easier for you to keep connected with your inner self and know what is your clear direction in life. So if this is something important for you, stay with me until the end and you will have all that clarity, which might be really useful on your path. That being the case, let's directly get into the topic. So, first of all, I want you to know that it's really normal if you sometimes feel lost in your life or if you sometimes feel you're not moving in the right direction, because this happens to all of us. Like, we live in such a world that there is so much chaos out there, and if we don't spend enough time exploring our inner world, it's so easy to get lost. But with this kind of videos, it's much like they're here to help you and support you in reconnecting back to yourself so that you can walk on your own unique authentic path in your life. And so these 3 contracts we'll talk about are something that every white worker, every seeker, every soul who came here to serve humanity through its awakening signed. It's like they're part of our mission as white workers. So you'll find them to be true. And now let's directly get into them. First of all, it's like we can think of the human experience as if it were some form of a spiritual game in which we are there to develop spiritually, to evolve spiritually, to connect with others, and at the same time to not sacrifice and to not compromise all of ourselves for others, because this way we wouldn't be able to be of their great benefit. And so for that purpose, all of us decided that to be part of this collective reality, collective human experience, we decided to forget who we are so that we can remember what our purpose is. And the way this works is really interesting. Like, if in your life, for example, you might have found out that there are some thematic experiences that you consistently go through. Like, it's almost as if they're repeating on a consistent, frequent basis throughout your life, every couple of years or something like that. It can also be every couple of months. So just to give you an example, I'll share with you what those thematic experiences were for me before I saw the pattern. Like, in my early years, I always find myself to get into really dependent relationships with my friends, with my family, with like romantic partners that I was connecting with. So every time I became dependent for others, I was always there for others. I was always like this I was always the people pleaser who wanted to care for others, who wanted everything for them to be okay, like for them to feel comfortable. And I was ready to sacrifice my own life and sacrifice my own values and compromise everything that is important for me so that others feels comfortable. So this was the thematic experience I was consistently going through. Like, this didn't stop. And at this stage, even, it doesn't stop. But at this stage, it's balancing with something I'll talk about in a moment. So you forget who you are so that you can remember your purpose. And now the key to that is to see how your ignorance, what you're ignorant in, and what are your thematic conflicts that you experience consistently in your life, they equal what you are here for. So again, to give you an example with me, like, I always experienced dependency in my relationships. I was always dependent on somebody. I was always pleasing other people. I always got into these relationships in which somebody was like controlling me or manipulating me. And this was a theme that consistently continued on and on and on. And eventually, once I spotted it and I was able to start letting go of it and like doing the required inner work, working with my inner feelings, I saw how it's really crucial for me to develop healthy boundaries. And with these healthy boundaries, first, to start caring of my own experience before I want to like help and serve others, because it was almost impossible to help others when I didn't have the sufficient energy for myself. And so this topic, because I was really ignorant, like I was really ignorant in my relationship, and I just thought that, well, relationships are there for me to just help everybody and always sacrifice myself, and I always felt really low and negative. And this was the topic, like this was my thematic conflict, this was what I was ignorant in. So in your life, inevitably you have some form of theme that consistently repeats itself, that inside of this theme you're ignorant, and it creates a lot of conflict in your life. And if you were to integrate that theme, you will know what you are here for. So in my case, once I learned how to put healthy boundaries, like how to develop healthy boundaries, how to communicate clearly my feelings instead of repressing them, because I was afraid of hurting other people, because I wanted everyone's experience to be comfortable and like everybody to feel safe around me. But I was doing that by repressing my feelings of others, and I was like, it's almost a form of manipulation when you're pleasing people too much. So anyways, I needed to forget who I am and like become dependent in my and experience myself being dependent in my relationships, to remember that part of my purpose is to help others set up healthy boundaries and connect to their inner worth and inner power before they experience conscious and uplifting relationships. And so at this stage, this is part of the purpose that I have discovered for myself. I am here to help others experience conscious, uplifting, and transparent relationships with everybody in their life, because this was the theme that was consistently repeating inside of my life. So, my friend, here, if you're just able to stop for a moment, for a while, and ask yourself, what is it that what is the conflict that I'm consistently experiencing in my life? And is it possible that this conflict is connected to what my purpose is in life? And I needed to forget my purpose so that I can experience all the pain and suffering of consistently going through that conflict, so that I know what other people, the people I will be able to serve, experience, and understand their experience, understand and like relate to their pain and suffering, so that I can help them afterwards. So this is like the first contract you signed, that you needed to forget who you are, experience all the suffering of that forgetfulness, of that ignorance, experience all the consistent and thematic conflicts, so that you can become passionate about helping others when you're able to transform this conflict and find a solution to it. So this is what I mean by this first contract, by forgetting who you are. You need to forget who you are to remember your purpose. Because if you just came here with your purpose, you wouldn't have gone through all the suffering, through that ignorance, and then you wouldn't be able to commit so much for that on that purpose, because it's like when it's only positive, there is almost no desire, not enough energy to maintain that commitment to helping others in what you were ignorant before. So this is how this first contract works. And then the second one is that inevitably, in some form, before you decided to experience yourself as a human being, you knew that part of that experience, you would learn how to care and have compassion for others. Now, compassion is really important, because compassion means that you are able to experience other people's suffering as if it were yours, without without all the opinions and without all the ideas of like why they suffer. It's almost as if you just experienced other people's suffering as if it were yours, without needing to change it or without needing to help them. And so the main key here, like learning how to care and have compassion for others, doesn't necessarily mean that you're here to save others. It means that you're here to accept and understand others. And through that acceptance and understanding of others, you're able to accept and understand yourself. Because as we will see in the third point, the third soul contract you signed, other people are just a reflection of your own journey. Other people's behavior towards you is a reflection of your own journey. What you experience in your relationships is reflecting the progress within your own journey. But we'll get to that in a moment. So the second point, the second contract, it's learning how to care and have compassion for others. And again, care doesn't mean that you're here to save and help others. It only means that you're here to accept and understand others, and through that acceptance and understanding, you're able to put yourself in their shoes. And if you're able to put yourself in their shoes, then if it's relevant, you can actually help them. But it is not your responsibility to save nobody. It is just your responsibility to learn about yourself from the reflection of others. And the key here, the key to this second, to integrating this second contract, soul contract, is understanding that you need to have respect for self and others' free will. So if a person you really love in your life is suffering a lot from, let's say, a dependent relationship or something, or like whatever it is, they're suffering in some aspect of their lives, and you feel excited and eager to help them out as if it's your responsibility. Before you do that, you need to remember that it's mandatory that you have respect for their free will, because their soul, their higher self, has chosen this suffering for learning purposes. And if you just go there and help them, and like you want to save them from that suffering, you're almost taking what they're responsible for and the opportunity for them to grow in life, and you're taking that on your shoulder, and then you start carrying that, and it becomes a burden on your back, and you're not helping their spiritual evolution. You might be helping to like you might be helping to ease their pain in their human experience, but you're not helping in their spiritual evolution. That's why you need to have respect for their free will. So if somebody chooses to suffer, if somebody chooses to be negative and to not change, it's not necessarily your responsibility to change them and to help them. It is your responsibility to understand and accept them and offer the opportunity to help. But it's not your responsibility to just jump and sacrifice yourself for others. So the same goes for respect for your own free will. Like, you need to have respect for the level on which you are at this stage of your life, because what I've realized in my journey and what I've seen in many white workers' lives is that when we become too eager to start helping others, this always comes as with the lack of responsibility for helping ourselves. When we want to help another with their experience, to help ease their pain, it is because we are running away from doing our own inner work. So this is what it means to have respect for yourself and for your own free will. It's like understanding that you first need to help yourself with what you want to help other people, because by helping yourself in that aspect of through which you want to help others, others will naturally come seeking for your help, because then you will be radiating that energy. You wouldn't need to go save others. So it's like, for what you want to save others, see how you can integrate that in yourself. And once you have integrated that within yourself, others will naturally come so that you're able to help them. And this is what learning to care and have compassion for others means. Like, you're not there to save anybody. You're just there to integrate the problems you see in your outer world inside of yourself, to resolve those problems inside of your own perception. Because when you're able to integrate what you don't like about another within yourself, and you're able to take responsibility of that perception, which means that when you find the problem in another person, you go and check within yourself, why do I see that this is a problem? Because if I see another person is having a problem, this means that part of me isn't having respect for their own free will, for their own spiritual journey. And if I'm able to see why do I even believe that somebody else has a problem, then I will be able to take that reflection that the other person is giving me and look it within myself and see what part of me perceives that another person has a problem. And when you see that, then it's like you can take responsibility for your perception, and you can start seeing the other person in the best light possible. And by doing that, they will naturally come there to seek for your help if it is relevant. So this is what it means to learn how to respect others and self free will, your own free will and others free will. It's like not going to save everybody, not going to rush and save everybody, but first working on your own perception, and from there, if it's relevant, going to offer your help. So this is the second point, that you need to balance this service to self between service to others. Because if you're too service to others oriented, you sacrifice yourself and you compromise yourself. If you're too service to self oriented, obviously you just become manipulative and too controlling of others, and you wouldn't care about their experience at all. So there is this balance between caring for yourself, for your own human needs and for your own like spiritual needs, and caring for others, like offering your support and offering your help. It's not like, again, you're not here to save anybody, you're just here to know who you are. So this is the second point, that you need to learn how to care and have compassion for others. And the third point, which will clarify the second contract, the third contract is that you knew before you incarnated that the quality of your relationships will reflect back to you the progress on your own spiritual path. Because the more supportive, the more uplifting, and the more respectful of each other's free will and desires relationships you have, the better you're doing in your own inner work. So your relationships will always reflect your own commitment to your own inner path. Does that make sense? So what does it mean? What does that mean practically? When you experience some conflict in your relationships, when you're frustrated about the behavior of another, you should check within yourself, because the part of you that is triggered is the one that you should take responsibility. It's not the other person that you should take responsibility for, but why you feel triggered within yourself. So this is how your relationships are always there to show you your progress. The better your relationships become, the more efficient you are in your own spiritual progress in your own spiritual development in your inner world. So your relationships will always reflect what you learned in your own journey, which means that it's like, then it becomes your responsibility to always be curious and responsible of why you feel triggered in your relationship. When something triggers you, then it's like, okay, it becomes your responsibility to check in with yourself. This is the only way you can learn, because everything exists inside of your inner world. The outer world is just a reflection of your inner world. And when something triggers you in the outer world, when the behavior of another triggers you in the outer world, then what this means is that you're having the same attitude you're judgmental about of another inside of yourself. And so the thing that you're judgmental of in another is the exact same thing that you're running and hiding away from yourself, And if you're able to see that quality within yourself and integrate it, then you'll find yourself naturally accepting the other person's behavior. And so, of course, from there you can have boundaries and not tolerate it if it's not constructive for your own growth. But this doesn't mean that you are here to change the other person's behavior. It just means that you're here to learn from what you don't like of the other person's behavior. And your relationships, they will always reflect this progress. So it's like, if you want to check your progress, just look within your relationships and look how you relate to the other important people in your life. Are you dependent to them? What do you feel triggered about in their behavior? What do you become too attached to in other people? Because all of these things, what you become too attached to, is what you haven't integrated within yourself as an authentic quality. What you feel triggered about in others and what you don't like in others is what you're judgmental about in yourself, but you hide of yourself. You don't want to look at it. And so in this way, you can see how much you're progressing within your own inner path. So this is what you knew before you incarnated, before you decided to have this human experience. But sometimes we do forget it. And again, this is the usefulness of these videos, because in this video, my hope is that it becomes much easier for you to start learning from your relationships and from your experience the way it is, to start learning about yourself from what you're experiencing on the outside. So these are the three soul contracts you signed and you knew before you incarnated. And now, my friend, I just want to offer you this opportunity of, like, if you find it hard for yourself to learn from your relationships, to see what they're there to teach you, I'm offering this free mirror sessions. I call them mirror sessions, in which we get on a just really brief, small 30 to 60 minutes call, in which we talk about your relationships and dissect from them what you're here to learn. So, because every relationship you have with whoever is in your life, it is there to teach you something about yourself. And if that relationship is somehow conflicting, then of course there is something important that you need to learn about yourself. And we will extract that from your relationships and focus on that quality that you need to learn inside of these mirror sessions. And at this stage, I'm offering 3 free mirror sessions. So if this sounds like something of value to you, like if you understand how useful your relationships can be on your spiritual path, because ultimately relationships are your spiritual path. When you perceive relationships as your spiritual path, you cannot become naive, because they're always reflecting who you are. And again, if they're healthy, if they're uplifting, if they're supportive, if they're transparent, if they're in the mutual benefit of everyone, then you know that you have progressed a lot in your spiritual path. But if you still experience conflicting, narcissistic, manipulative relationships, then this means that there are things that you need to learn about yourself from those relationships. Like, no, I won't share this story in this video because it will get too long, but in another video I'll share with you for what narcissistic relationships are teaching you in your life, because this is really crucial, again, in your spiritual path. If you find yourself being surrounded by narcissists, it's like there is some really crucial lessons that you need to learn from those relationships. And if you find that interesting, either follow the link down in the description, the calendar link down in the description, where you can schedule this free mirror session I told you about. We'll do it in Zoom, and you can pick a time and a date which works for you, and then you will be able to talk personally and reflect what you need to learn from your relationships. Or you can also comment down below and let me know if you're interested in this video, because it's something that I will be creating if you have enough interest. What you're learning from your relationships with narcissists, if you still have such kind of relationships in your life. And so, my friend, this was everything I wanted to share in this video. So if you find it useful and if you got some value out of it, like it, comment down below. Let me know what do you believe are your soul contracts that you signed before you were born. And if there is something else that I missed in this video, I would love to make a discussion down in the comments. So let me know your experience, and I would definitely come back to you. And also, if you're new to this channel, subscribe to it, because in this channel we'll be talking everything about conscious relationships, relating consciously to one another, everything about metaphysics, about the law of assumption, about like the dynamics between relationships, and everything about letting go, David Hawkins, and polarity, masculine and feminine polarity, things like that. So if you find these topics interesting, subscribe to the channel, and I would love to see you in the future videos. This was everything I wanted to share with you for now. Thank you so much for watching. Comment down below, subscribe, and I would see you in the next video. Bye bye for now. I love you.